Guys, I'm back again and I'm here to do a different kind of video. So the Women's Prize Longlist is going to be announced on the 5th of March. So I thought I would try to predict which possible books by Black women that could be on the long list. Now, the Women's Prize has long disappointed me with their choices in books for the long list and then also their choices for the short list. And they've really disappointed me with their choices in books by Black women. Like, for example, last year, A Spell of Good Things should have been on the list, and it wasn't on the list. But like things like I don't understand. So I thought, let me get in on this because I know a lot of people making their predictions. I ain't making no predictions of all them other people that could be on the list. I'm not going to know all of the people. I won't be able to make good predictions of that. But I thought I could make some good predictions on what Black women that could possibly be on the list, on the long list. So let's get started. Now, I think they have to be published. The books have to be published in the UK from, I think it's the 1st of April, 2023 up until March 31st, 2024. So now I might be a little bit off with that, but I think that's what it is. That's where they look for the books that they're going to put on the long list. Now, I don't know if all of these have been published in the UK in that time frame, but I think they have. There was one I was thinking about putting on, but I think I took it off because I don't think they accept short story collections. This being said, let's just see how I do. I'm just going to throw out some ideas and we'll discuss it down in the comment section. All right. So the first book I put on the list was The Middle Daughter. Now, The Middle Daughter is written by Chika Inigwe. God, her writing is so freaking good. And The Middle Daughter is so good. I already spoke about this book because I read it last summer, if you remember, and I raved about it and I talked about it. Okay, so it says, a lush, powerful tale of family and sisterhood from award-winning author Chika Inigwe, perfect for fans of Bernardine Evaristo and Tayari Jones. Udodi's death was the beginning of the raging storm, but at that moment, we thought that the worst had already happened and that life would treat us with more kindness. When 17-year-old Nani loses her older sister and then her father in quick succession, her world spins off its axis. Isolated and misunderstood by her grieving mother and sister, she's drawn to an internet preacher, a handsome self-proclaimed man of God who offers her a new place to belong. Oh, you got to get this one. So good. If that was on the list, I would be so freaking happy. Excellent, excellent book. Really, really, really well done. Highly recommend that one. Okay, the next book that it could possibly be on there is this one right here, which is The Fraud by Zadie Smith. Now, I have my copy of The Fraud. I still haven't read The Fraud yet. So I'm going to have to stop playing and get to it this year. Because, I should have read it. I was going to read it towards the end of last year, but it just I couldn't fit it in. Okay, so The Fraud, it says, it is 1873. Mrs. Eliza Touchet is the Scottish housekeeper and cousin by marriage of a once famous novelist, now in decline, William Ainsworth, with whom she has lived for 30 years. Mrs. Touchet is a woman of many interests: literature, justice, abolitionism, class, her cousin, his wives, this life and the next. But she is also skeptical. She suspects her cousin of having no talent, his successful friend, Mr. Charles Dickens, of being a bully and a moralist, and England of being a land of facades in which nothing is quite what it seems. So I would be surprised if this one wasn't on the list. Yeah, I'd be surprised if it wasn't on there. The next book I have on my list of possibilities is Remember, Remember. And this is by Elle McCrae. And this is a debut novel, a Scottish writer. It says, 1770, Delphine lives in the shadows of London, a secret, vibrant world of smugglers, courtesans, and small rebellions. 4 years ago, she escaped enslavement at great personal cost. Now she must help her brother Vincent do the same. So I feel like this one will definitely be on there. And I say that because sometimes the Women's Prize has this thing where they'll put a new young writer on the list. This is exactly what happened with My Sister the Serial Killer. This is what happened with My Sister's, because that was, she was a new young writer and they put her on the list. So I think Remember, Remember is definitely going to be on there. The next book I have on my list is Rootless. And this is by Crystal Zara Apia. Now, this one was all over the place last year. Everybody was talking about Rootless. I wasn't really onto the Rootless train like that. But if you want a good discussion on Rootless, go over to Peta's channel, Comfy Cozy Up. She read it and talked about it in depth, if you're interested in knowing more about Rootless. So it says here, on a spring afternoon in London, Sam hops the stairs of his flat 2 at a time. There's 1,300 missing from his and his wife, Effe's shared bank account, and his calls are going straight to voicemail. When he finally reaches someone, he learns Efe is nearly 5,000 miles away as their toddler looks around and asks, "Where's mommy?" Okay. Now, I don't know if I ever get to this one, but I wouldn't be too surprised if it winds up on the list, because it's one of those books that I think could get on there because of its subject matter. And yeah, I think this might be her debut as well. Yeah, I think this is a debut novel for her, so she could possibly be on the list as well. And now, the next book I have on my list is this one right here, The Island of Forgetting by Jasmine Seeley. Now, I heard a little bit about this, but it didn't get the biggest buzz. It was kind of discreet buzz. I think she's from Barbados, if I'm not mistaken, because this book is set in Barbados. And it would be really nice if she wound up on the list, because, how many Caribbean people wind up on this list? Hardly ever. So it says, how does memory become myth? How do lies become family lore? How do we escape the trauma of the past when the truth has been forgotten? Barbados, 1962. Lost soul Lapidus roams the island, scared and alone, driven mad after witnessing his father's death at the hands of his mother and his older brother, Cronus. Just before Lapidus is lost forever, he has a son, but the baby is not enough to save him from himself or his family's secrets. So this one could actually get on the list as well. It sounds like something that the Women's Prize would put on the list, and I think this is her. I think it's her debut. Let me just check. Yes, I think it is her debut, because I think she only has written a short story that wound up in a short story collection. But I feel like this one could be very interesting if it wound up on the list. But, we'll see. The next book on the list is The House of Eve by Sadiqa Johnson. Now, this was a Read So Lit read-along book back in last summer in July. We absolutely loved this book. We thought it was done very, very well. Sadiqa Johnson is knocking it out of the park with a little bit of her historical fiction type writing. Now, it would be fantastic if she could get on that long list. That would just be the icing on the cake for all of the great things that have been happening to Sadiqa since, she started writing historical fiction with Yellow Wife. I'm rooting for Sadiqa. I feel like if she gets on there, I'll be really, 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 really happy. Okay, so this is what it's about. 1950s Philadelphia. 15-year-old Ruby Pearsall is on track to becoming the first in her family to attend college, in spite of having a mother more interested in keeping a man than raising a daughter. But a taboo love affair threatens to pull her back down into the poverty and desperation that has been passed on to her like a birthright. This one is good. If you haven't read The House of Eve, just read it. It's really good. Okay, the next book on my list is Come and Get It by Kylie Reed. Now, as you remember, Kylie Reed, her debut came out the year of 2020, and it was called Such a Fun Age. This is her second novel, so I said I would read her sophomore novel just to see if she would go all the way with her, her themes, because I feel like in Such a Fun Age, the problem is that she didn't go far enough. She was very reserved, and so that brought all of the work and the ideas that she had, it all brought it down, in my opinion. But this being said, I think she can write, and she writes dialogues pretty well. And so I said, oh, when her sophomore novel comes out, I'm going to check it out. Well, I do have in possession this sophomore novel, Come and Get It. And there's a possibility that it could wind up on the Women's Prize. I mean, it could. So we will see. So this is what it's about. It says, it's 2017 at the University of Arkansas. Millie Cousins, a senior resident assistant, wants to graduate, get a job, and buy a house. So when Agatha Paul, a visiting professor and writer, offers Millie an easy yet unusual opportunity, she jumps at the chance. But Millie's starry-eyed hustle becomes jeopardized by odd new friends, vengeful dorm pranks, and illicit intrigue. So I have my fingers crossed for this one that it's going to be good, but also that maybe it'll wind up on the Women's Prize. So that is all that I have on my list that I could come up with that I thought could be possibly on the Women's Prize for fiction on their long list. Comment below and tell me if you agree with any of these or if you can think of some that I didn't think of. Because I had to it was not easy because it's, that time frame, So, yeah, let's talk about it. Prizes are always so controversial for the way they operate, but not only that, when they how they choose their winners, how they choose their judges. It's also, it's always seems so unfair to a certain extent. So let's talk about it below. Let me know what you think about my could be on the long list. And let me know what you can come up with if you come up with any other ones. Okay, I'll see you real soon with another video. Bye.